tells me that you almost like pronounced him dead a couple times too. He tells me like you were going and like poking him, like, is he still
We
alive?
thought that was his last breath, and then we'd wait, and there was another one.
Do you want to do this reading for me? Because I don't think I can take it. And by the way, your dad's goofy on the other side when I'm connected with him. Because he's going like this to me. He goes, Matt, he goes, oh my God. He goes, I can't believe I'm in front of all these people right now, he's telling me. And what the hell is with your father not wanting to get dressed up at the end when he wasn't feeling good here in this world?
He was a businessman, and his closet looked like tip-top tailor with all the suits, and it was not like him at all to lay in bed, not dressed up with a suit and tie on. And my sister and I made comments about it when we were sitting on his deathbed with him.
He said that to me. He goes, Matt,
mess.
let her know this is not how I wanted to look, he said to me. And what's crazy is he's also telling me weird things happened to him before he died. Like he tells me he was having a teeth issue before his passing.
He had a gold tooth.
Oh, shut the hell up. No wonder why.
And when this is going to sound awful. When he passed, my sister and I got ashes, and they were in clear containers. And so I called her after we left the burial and said, I have the gold tooth. But I don't. I just said it as a joke.
That sounds like something my family would do. Because you know Italians, we give the best jewelry because we take them off of dead people. Ask any Italian you know.
My partner passed, and he had a nipple ring, and I got them to take that off.
So your father, you tried to take his tooth. Your partner passed and you took his nipple ring?
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up. Your father's telling me, and I didn't understand because they kept telling me, tell her I know about the tooth. So if he had that one gold tooth and everybody was looking for it after he died, and your father, he's laughing at me because souls will still have their personality, and your father's saying, tell them I left them enough money. Why are they fighting over a tooth, he's telling me.
Oh my God.
He
did.
I know. He says to me, and Matt, he goes, you got to tell them something, all right? He says, you need to tell them, he says, that before I died, he goes, they weren't worried about what I looked like. Your father tells me you were worried about what you were eating. He said to me that there was so much food coming in and out of his room. He says, you were always eating something here in this world. And what the hell, were you springing in Tim Hortons or something like that? Because he tells me about donuts coming in. You could smell donuts.
We were at the hotel, and my stepmother called and asked us to come to the house. We were planning on going back to Nova Scotia. And she called and said, you might want to come. So we stopped at Tim Hortons on the way.
He says to me, Matt, you don't understand. He goes, I'm dying. All I could smell was Tim Hortons, coffee. He said, them telling me I look like a slob, he said to me.
But his hands looked fantastic.
What?
We always used to comment on he had like doctor's hands, they looked like. And they were always perfectly manicured. And we said, what did you do? Like go have a manicure before this? And he was like in a medically induced coma, and then he let out this kind of groan, like he was acknowledging like that we were making fun of his hands.
Please know that your father said to me he heard everything that went on in that coma. Everything that went on. He says, Matt, he goes, I gotta tell you something. He goes, my family was a little bit crazy here in this world. Because he tells me that you almost like pronounced him dead a couple times too. He tells me like you were going and like poking him, like, is he still alive?
We thought that was his last breath, and then we'd wait, and there was another one.
I told you this was quite the reading. When I came over, your father's like, you're not gonna believe what they did to me before I died. And then your father's also telling me, like, when he was passing here in this world, like, everybody was moving him.
Well, my stepmother may have. She laid a blanket over him this is awful.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to go. Do you want to do this reading for me? Because I don't think I can take it. Go ahead.
My stepmother had a blanket that both of her parents had on them when they passed. So she also laid it on my dad. So she moved like to tuck it around him when he passed away, and that gave her comfort after he passed.
Your father thinks this is hysterical in heaven, by the way. Because he said to me, Matt, he goes, I'm going to tell you something right now. He goes, I lost all my dignity the day I died.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He says to me, because if you would have seen me out in the street when I was okay to how I died, he goes,
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. He was 100%. Yeah. It was like he was a very social person, like money social. So like what you looked like mattered and social.
He tells me this. He says, Matt, please tell my daughter, please tell my family. He says that when I died, he says, thankfully, he says, it wasn't a sad time because he couldn't stop laughing in heaven, he said to me. He goes, Matt, he goes, next thing you know, he goes, I thought they were going to turn my body over. He goes, I didn't know what was going to happen to me next. But what he tells me is this, is that what was so beautiful about your dad, right, is that he tells me that when he got to the other side, what was so beautiful is that he finally became back who he was here in this world. That's what's so beautiful. He says, Matt, I need them to know that when I passed on, I became the person that I was before I was sick, before I died. And he also tells me this. He says that before he left this world, what he cared about most was making sure that you were all taken care of. That's what he tells me.
Absolutely.
So he said to me, Matt, I had things planned for years and years and years just in case I died.
Yeah.
So he says to me this, when you died and you found out that your dad had money left for you and all of these things taken care of, he says, know that that was my gift from you. He says, I worked hard my whole life for one reason, to take care of you and my family. He says to me, Matt, you need to let them know that even though his life was about making money, money didn't matter to him. He tells me what it mattered, the reason why he worked so hard was to take care of all of you. He says, so he says, ask my daughters, I didn't spend the money that I made, he tells me. He says, it was sitting for everybody for after I died because I wanted to make sure that nothing happened to my family and that I could take care of them from beyond the grave. And that's what I'm doing now. He says, so know that I'm not mad. He says, no. He says, that doesn't matter what they did with my body. He says, because I am restored in heaven. I am okay. And he is safe and at peace. And that partner that you lost is also there in spirit with them as well.